In today's video, I bought an Airsoft collection off of Craigslist that's worth over $8,000. We have some extremely rare and discontinued Airsoft guns, HPA, electric, and gas ones to go through in today's video. And the grand finale is a $2,749 Airsoft gun. Most of these Airsoft guns have been hidden away in a storage unit for quite a long time, so we'll find out if they work or if I got scammed. I'm going to be starting with the cheapest one first, which is this VFC SCAR-L for $375. And then throughout the video, we're going to move up to the more expensive ones. First up, this SCAR-L has some pretty cool features. It has a full aluminum upper as well as a polymer lower. And as you can see, going to the front section right here, the previous owner had a PWS SRX rail extension actually installed, and this actually retails for about $85. So definitely a really cool look for the SCAR-L. It just kind of spices it up from its original stock look. It is fully licensed by FN Hersel, as you can see, with all of the trades throughout the body itself, so definitely makes it more expensive with those actual officially licensed trades. Going over to this side, as you can see, it has a traditional style hop-up instead of a rotary one right there. And what's really cool about SCAR-Ls, if you guys didn't know, it actually comes with the iron sight already fixed into the front of the body. So if you need it, all you have to do is flip it up like this. And of course, if you're going to be using any optics, then you could just simply flip it down. Pretty simple. I'm not sure how many people are going to be actually using a foldable stock for a full-scale rifle, but, you know, at least it makes it a little bit easier to carry around. And of course, like all SCARs, it has a fully adjustable stock back here to 6 different positions. And now you might be asking, where does the battery go? Well, this guy is actually rear wired, so actually if you take out this little pin right here and take off the little butt pad right there, you'll have a fully exposed little battery section right here. So it doesn't have a crazy amount of battery space, but it's definitely better than most Airsoft rifles. When I first picked these up, he said most of the Airsoft guns in the collection I bought were actually stored in a storage unit, so there was a little bit of like water damage or some kind of like white like hardened marks on them. Not really sure what those are. So most of the Airsoft guns in the collection I had to actually clean up a little bit. Specifically, this SCAR actually had some like water damage kind of on it. As you can see, those little like white hard marks right there. There is actually still some kind of left on the top right here when I was trying to clean it off. I couldn't really get rid of those, but as you can see, I definitely cleaned it up quite a bit. It doesn't actually look in too bad of condition now. I did go ahead and run a few rounds through most of the Airsoft guns in the collection before I bought it, just to make sure they worked, but obviously without a proper chronograph and proper range, I couldn't really test if they worked to their full capability. But let's go ahead and chronograph it and go to the shooting range and see how it does. Not too shabby. Looks like we're getting about 370.9 FPS with 1.28 joules. Let's check out the RPS now. Looks like this guy is shooting 12.2 rounds per second. Now let's go to the shooting test and see if it'll have some good accuracy at about 100 feet. So as you can see, this thing is actually shooting pretty well. I did notice, unfortunately though, when doing the shooting test, the hop up is completely toast. I tried to adjust it all the way up, all the way down, and everywhere in between, and no luck. So something about the hop up or bucking or nub is completely broken. But just still aiming up a little bit, I was still able to hit some insanely good groupings. But overall, if the hop up wasn't complete trash, this guy would shoot absolute lasers. I think this is my first time ever shooting the exact bullseye in the middle, which is definitely fun to look at. Other than replacing whatever is wrong with the hop up, this thing is actually in pretty good shape after I cleaned it up. Now let's go and see what we got up next, and of course see if our luck continues. Alrighty, going to the second Airsoft gun of the video. This is the Tippmann Omega PV electro-pneumatic Airsoft rifle, and this is the Gen 2. The original retail of this one was $499.99. So as you can see, some really cool Tippmann trades, but if you come up here, there's some really cool information. It says some kind of number right here, 94476, and then there is a date under that, which you can see right here, which I'm guessing is the date this was actually produced, which is the 31st of July, 2019. So this guy is about 5 years old, and it also says sample 5 right here, so I'm guessing this is one of the first like prototype sample batches of this actual Airsoft gun. So really cool little like Easter egg right there. So to power up that crazy engine, basically there is a couple different things we're going to need to do. If you undo this little plate at the bottom of the like motor grip, there's basically a little tiny electronic system down here, and as you can see, there's some wires in there and a little place for a 9-volt battery to actually go. So that actually 9-volt battery will power the electronic computer in this guy, and then the rest of it is actually from compressed air. And as you can see, when I put it on semi-automatic, the trigger is definitely pretty interesting. It's definitely not a normal Airsoft AEG trigger. It is super lightweight, and as you could hear, kind of clicks a little micro switch at the end of its pull. And then the actual power system is actually from these little canisters right here. So this one specifically and these little canisters are actually CO2 ones, but you can also opt for a 13 cubic inch little compressed air tank as well to power this guy. And what's really interesting is 2 of the little canisters included actually came with the same number and the same date, but the sample is actually different. This says sample 2 and that says sample 5. So pretty interesting. This must be the original one that came with this one because the body is sample 5 as well. But as you can see, this is like the final iteration of it, and there is no like actual engravings or stampings on this one at all. But it does show you a a little graphic of how you're supposed to install the little CO2 cartridges. So basically spin this guy open first. Once you get this guy all the way undone, go ahead and open this side right here. And then you basically follow the instructions and drop the cartridges in like that. First screw this side all the way on, and then go ahead and pierce them by screwing this side on. And now actually to install this, it's actually really easy. All you have to do is drop it into the back of the stock right here and press it in. And now with that all the way in and the 9-volt battery plugged in, this guy will be fully functional. What? Oh no! It's broken! When I was testing it out at his house, it was perfectly fine, but for some reason when I was actually trying to get it hooked up at my house, it had some issues. But after doing some surgery on this guy, I found a simple issue of just one of the wires needed to be resoldered. After I went ahead and did that, it was working back to normal. All right, fresh canister in here. 356.3 with 1.18 joules. 427. What? 388? 430? 360.5 with 1.21 joules. 432? What the heck? Definitely some inconsistencies. It's shooting from like 350 FPS with like 1.12 joules all the way to like 430 FPS. I have no idea why. It has some type of adjustability with the FPS and RPS. All you have to do to adjust the FPS is take an Allen key and adjust this right here, and it goes up and down FPS. Pretty cool. And for full auto, it actually has a very simple way of changing it from 15 rounds per second, 20 rounds per second, and 25 rounds per second. All you have to do is go to safe, hold down the trigger, then select auto mode on the fire select, wait for the little lights to start blinking in the gearbox. And then from there, there's 3 different colors: green, orange, and red. Green is the least FPS and red is the most FPS. What the heck? BBs are going up now. What? Okay, now this hop-up is being super weird. Well, definitely not the most consistent airsoft gun I've ever shot. We had BBs going up, down, left, and yeah, that is definitely not what I expect with a $500 airsoft gun. I'm assuming it's a hop-up or bucking inconsistency causing this guy to shoot like that, but who knows, it could be something with the engine as well, kind of not being very consistent. But if I were to guess, if you replace the bucking and maybe clean out the inner barrel as well as the hop-up and go ahead and clean out the engine as well and do some maintenance, pretty sure this guy would shoot pretty well. Alrighty, up next we have this big boy, and this is the ICS L86A2 British Military full-size airsoft rifle. This one comes in at $549.95. And as you can see, it's a little beat up, not the best shape, but definitely not too bad. As you can see some little marks all right here where the cheek pad kind of is, just some, you know, definitely quite a bit of scuffs right there, and throughout the body itself, some scratches and dents, but nothing too bad. The only real unfortunate part is if you come to the front right here, it actually does not come with a bipod. I wish it came with it, but definitely not the end of the world. So instead of your traditional version 2 gearbox, this guy actually uses a full ICS proprietary custom gearbox. It shares commonalities with a lot of different saws or light machine guns and even the P90 setup. So instead of the actual motor being in the pistol grip, contacting the gearbox in the gears from a vertical position, it actually is in a horizontal position. So the motor is somewhere up here. So all the green parts, as you can see along the body, are all made from a polymer design, but all the rest of the body is made from a aluminum or steel construction. So this guy is definitely not too light. So some really quick fun facts about this guy is the back iron sight is actually fully built into the little carry handle at the top right here. And this guy takes full M4 magazine, so it doesn't have some crazy like proprietary magazine. This one actually has some pretty cool trades on this side as well. As you can see, MG556 light support L86A2 right there, and the engraving on the actual grip right there, and some really cool little stamped information above the magwell right there, indicating the actual real steel round the real one uses. And if you pull this guy back, there is access to the actual hop-up wheel right there, as well as a little bit of a view of the gearbox right there. To access the battery, all you have to do is take this little tab and undo that. Now come to the top and actually make this go to the side, and then this will actually rotate out, as you can see right there. And now you have the full access to the battery space up here in this front handguard. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this guy all powered up and see how it shoots. This one we're going to be using a 7.4 volt LiPo. Let's see how it goes. The consistency is definitely there, as you can see a nice grouping on the target. Damn, son. All right, next up we have this bad boy, and the price of this one is actually surprisingly the exact same as the previous airsoft gun at $549.95. And this is the officially licensed H&K VFC M29 IAR. As you can see, this guy's definitely had better days, a lot of paint actually rubbing off in that outer barrel, as well as a lot of scratches at the front right there as well. Rail system too, nothing extremely bad for the actual body itself, but definitely a couple nicks and scratches. And this stock back here has definitely had better days as well. This guy's completely almost faded the actual paint color as well. This one actually comes with the full VFC Avalon gearbox, which is an improved Tokyo Marui spec version 2 with low friction, high quality steel bearings, a built-in MOSFET, as well as a quick change spring system. And of course, driving the gearbox is a high torque neodymium magnet motor. And that means this guy will probably be able to handle some cool 11.1 volt batteries. So this one actually might be pretty snappy. And as you can see from the looks, it's fully based off of the 416 platform, of course with a longer rail and a longer outer barrel, making it better for long range contact over the standard 416. And this guy is a fully rear wired airsoft gun right here, with the battery actually going to be fitting in the buffer tube or the stock. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this guy to the shooting and chronograph range and test it out. Alright, and the last shot was 394.1 FPS with 1.44 joules. Now let's test out the RPS with 11.1. This should be pretty decent. Woo! Looks like we're getting about 20.4 rounds per second with this guy. All right, now let's go to the shooting test and see if this guy will still hold up to a 100-foot shooting test with its accuracy and range despite its old age. Well, despite its old age, this guy is shooting very well. No problems with this one. Now let's go to the next one and see what we got. You guys thought I was messing around in this video? Absolutely not. Next up, we have a classic army minigun. This guy comes in at $599. It is a full HPA powered M132 minigun. It definitely looks like a handful to handle, but this one, because of its heavy duty nylon fiber reinforced polymer construction, only weighs in at 9 pounds. And it's surprising, it actually comes with fully adjustable hop-ups for each barrel. And if you're crazy and want to upgrade the barrels, the buckings, or the hop-ups, are actually completely compatible with standard AG parts. The way this guy actually rotates is fully powered by a battery, so once you get that all set up, the actual barrels will rotate even if you don't have the HPA system plugged up. And what's really satisfying is the actual trigger and grip system back here is a joystick style. So once you take your hand and actually compress the safety and grip it right here, there is that little red trigger at the top. Pretty satisfying. And you might be wondering, well, where the heck does the actual magazine, or like where do you even load up the BBs from? Well, it actually has a fully spring powered 2,200 round little like compartment to fit all the BBs. And it's actually kind of interesting and a little scary. Actually, to load the BBs, you're gonna have to take off this little cap at the front right here. So once you go ahead and screw that off, the little spring system will actually go ahead and go out, and you put all of the BBs in this little tube right there. And if you're wondering how to actually access the battery compartment, it's going to be in this little tube right here. There's going to be two little plastic buttons on the back of this little tube right here. You're going to want to go ahead and squeeze those both and then pull out the little cap. And then as you can see right here, here is the little electronic computer powering this guy up, and the little Dean's connection right there to plug up your battery. The stock motor of this guy can actually shoot 38 rounds per second with the 4 barrels, but if you get an upgraded motor, you can go ahead and shoot all the way up to 48 rounds per second. All right, we got the HPA plugged in and no leaks, so that's a good sign. All right, we ready? It actually sounds super like cool too. What the heck? Damn! You can even see like the HPA air leaving the barrels. That's insane. it's definitely out of air. So it basically melted 1,000 PSI of air, and I don't even know what that was, like a minute of shooting max. That's insane. All right, I am super excited about this guy. If you know what this is, these are absolutely legendary. They will never make these again. They are completely discontinued. This is the KWA Kriss Vector gas blowback airsoft submachine gun. And as you can see, the previous owner had some cool touches on this guy, like this M4 rail actually installed on the front right there, a suppressor that actually goes into the rail, a grip down here, and then coming to the back, we actually have a really cool M4 adapter, changing it from that standard foldable stock design to a full M4 buffer tube back here. So as you can see, you could put any type of M4 stock now on the back of this guy. It has some really cool trades throughout the whole airsoft gun itself, with the name right there, Kriss Vector, as well as the manufactured by KWA design down there, and of course the real steel rounds. This guy takes the 45 ACP. If you're not familiar with the Kriss Vector, let's go over some of the awesome features with this guy. So first up, there is the fire select back there with this little switch. Go ahead and switch that. There is off safe right there when you can see that red dot. And of course, now going over to the fire selection switch, this guy has a legendary mode that pretty much no other airsoft guns have. It has semi-automatic and the legendary 2-round burst. One of the super unique features about the real Kriss Vector and the airsoft one is the chamber check system. If you pull back the charging handle 90 degrees, you could see the bolt open up just a little bit, revealing inside the chamber right there, so you could see if there's a BB inside. And if you were curious to release the magazine, it has a little button right there at the top. You go ahead and press that and release the magazine. Surprisingly, it is not ambidextrous. And of course, this is the little charging handle and the bolt right here. And this is the bolt release button right there. These magazines are fully powered by green gas and hold 49 rounds. The Kriss Vector has to be probably one of the most iconic, incredible gas blowback SMGs ever made in airsoft. It was only available for a short time before it was discontinued due to a legal dispute between Kriss and the factory. And the original price this guy is $400. And I know what you're thinking, that's a lot of money for an airsoft gun. But nowadays, because these are discontinued, the price is skyrocketed. I've seen them listed at anywhere between like $700 and $1,200. And one airsoft website has one listed and it's brand new, selling for $2,000. These are just extremely expensive nowadays. So as it stands right now, the exact same model which we have here, which replicates the same innovative cycling technology as the real Vector, will never be made again. Which definitely sucks, but at least we have one right here to test out and show you guys. As you could probably tell, I'm super excited to go ahead and shoot this guy. Let's go ahead and charge up the magazines with some green gas and BBs and see what this guy's got. Definitely looks to be shooting a little bit on the low side. This thing has obviously maybe been sitting in the warehouse for some time, so some of the parts may be a little bit worn down and kind of not, you know, properly lubricated. Everything's obviously been sitting for quite a long time. So we're seeing definitely a little bit lower FPS than I'd like, probably about 100 lower than what I would expect. Looks like the third shot was 237.8 FPS with 0.53 joules. Definitely not what I expected to see with this guy. Let's go ahead and do the full auto and see what it's at. The RPS looks like it's about 12.4 rounds per second. Whoa, I'm just noticing this nozzle in here. Okay, you guys have to see a little bit of a closer look. This nozzle definitely needs to be replaced. That's probably why this guy's shooting so bad. Holy. All right, got no iron sights with this, so give me a break. All right, the Kriss Vector definitely had some inconsistencies overall. Probably about 20 to 30% of the shots weren't even really making it to the target, or they're shooting over it. But the shots that actually got to the target, pretty damn impressive. For that old of an airsoft gun that's been sitting in storage for that long, it's probably not been maintained in years, that is actually not too shabby. I'm sure if you took this thing apart and did some proper maintenance, this thing would shoot some lasers. That's actually pretty impressive. Now, of course, the iconic 2-round burst. Oh. Unfortunately, just because of the weather being so cold, this thing definitely did not like to get shot on 2-round burst. And it does not help that that nozzle is absolutely done for. Next up, continuing with the super rare and highly expensive collector airsoft guns, we're going to continue with this guy. This is the limited edition PTS FPG Airsoft Gas Blowback Submachine Gun. And I know what you're thinking, Wag, that's literally a plastic box. That is not an airsoft gun. Well, you'd be wrong. This thing is a full airsoft submachine gun. All you have to do to actually get this guy back in its collapse mode is take the little grip right there, fold it in place. Then to actually collapse this pistol grip right here, there is a little button right there. Go ahead and press that. That will actually fold forward. Then up here, there's a little plastic piece. Go ahead and pull that upward. This whole stock system will go ahead and collapse everything into place. And then to get this guy fully ready for combat mode, all you have to do is actually pull back the charging handle with your thumb as you flick your wrist downward like this. It's absolutely the most badass feature of any airsoft gun I've ever seen. Now when it's in its full combat mode, you have access to a full pistol grip right there, a full stock right there with a little shoulder plate as well, so it's all comfy on your shoulder, and a tiny little grip right here. And of course, we cannot forget about that little carry handle and the built-in iron sight system up here. So as you can see, this guy's definitely had some better days, some scratches and marks throughout the whole thing itself, but definitely could be in worse shape. So this one was fully built by PTS technicians, but the full internals are based off of the KWA ATP. So definitely a little bit of a dated pistol design, but still a very good gas-black pistol from KWA. As you can see, the magazines are definitely not in the best shape as they have some crazy marks and stuff like that and scuffs throughout the whole thing itself, but they do indeed work, so that's all that matters. And if you were lucky enough to get one of the original ones, this one had a original MSRP of $350. Just like the Kriss Vector, these were discontinued, so the prices skyrocketed. I've seen them listed in the past couple years all the way from like $650 all the way up to like $1,200 or even more for good condition ones. The way this guy works is very simple. After putting in the magazine, there is the bolt handle right there. All you have to do is charge it back to get it all loaded up. And that's pretty much it with this guy. It's very simple. And of course, to release the slide, there is the little tab right there. Words cannot even express how excited I am to test this bad boy out. Let's see how it does. There we go. Damn, actually not too bad. And the last shot went down a little bit, but still pretty consistent at 345.5 FPS with 1.11 joules. And before we actually move on to the shooting test, this guy does have full auto as well. All you have to do is actually press this button at the top right here. And as you can see now, the little ATP in there. And on this side of the actual pistol itself, there is a little switch right there, semi-automatic and full auto. All you have to do is switch that down to full auto and we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and see the RPS. Damn, all right. Looks like we're getting about 15.4 rounds per second. But I'm pretty sure on a nice warm day, this thing might be able to actually get to like 20 rounds per second. Very impressive for such an old pistol. 75 feet, let's see how this thing does. Man, that never gets old. Woo. Very impressive what essentially is a super old, not maintained KWA ATP. All right, the last airsoft gun of the video, the grand finale. So these airsoft guns are absolutely super special and limited, and get ready for this price tag. I don't think you're ready. This guy had an original price of $2,742. All right, don't freak out, take a deep breath, but that is a crazy amount of money to pay for an airsoft gun. And the official name of this guy is the Airsoft Surgeon M4 14.5 version 3 M4. So let's go ahead and take it out of the box and see what it looks like. Almost $3,000 for an airsoft gun. That is just, I cannot get over that. That's insanity. That's like a car. Oh, but this thing looks nice though. That is a looker. This thing is absolutely insane. Like every part of this thing is so thought out. It just looks, I mean, insane. The first thing that stands out to me is just like the lower right here. You can fully see all the internals through that like skeleton style lower receiver. Definitely makes it look very fancy over a standard gas like rifle. So obviously the parts alone are not worth $3,000. Pretty much any airsoft gun is not worth $3,000, but there is a reason why this thing is so dang expensive. But first, before I explain that, let's go over what's actually on this guy. Looks like we have a PTS Magpul grip right here, as well as a stock too. It has some kind of included red dot sight. I'm actually not sure how expensive that is. And a really cool fun fact, this guy only has safe and semi-automatic because basically this thing is built like a race gun. And you don't even need to flip it all the way to semi-automatic. You basically flip it halfway there and it's ready to go. That is some insane engineering. But even if you total up the crazy expensive externals and internals with this guy, it doesn't even come close to worth $3,000. So why the heck are people paying this premium of this $3,000 airsoft rifle? It all has to do with the airsoft gun builder and the brand Airsoft Surgeon. Clearance Light, aka Airsoft Surgeon, is known for handcrafting, finely tuning gas-like race pistols and M4s, which are upgraded with incredible reliable internals. But that's why this guy is so special, because it was created by the legendary Airsoft Surgeon himself. But of course, now let's go ahead and shoot this guy and see how it performs. But I actually have an interesting test with this one. So because this one is a $3,000 airsoft rifle, basically, let's go ahead and test it compared to a normal $300 airsoft rifle. All right, so before we go on and choreograph the crazy $3,000 gas-like rifle, we're gonna go ahead and use the $300 one first. Let's go ahead and get a baseline just to see what this guy's shooting at and kind of get the difference of consistency with the two different builds. Third shot is 390.4 FPS with 1.42 joules. So the $3,000 rifle claimed to be about 400 FPS. This looks like it's shooting about 400 as well. Damn, that's pretty lightweight versus the normal one. All right, the last shot looks like it's 315.2 FPS with 0.92 joules. So definitely a lot lower FPS than the claimed 400 FPS. Interesting.
First up, let's go ahead and do the shooting test for the $300 airsoft rifle.
Definitely not too shabby for a stock WeTech M4.
Now let's go ahead and test out the $2,700 airsoft rifle and see how it compares.
Oh. Oh. Whoa, that was a little far up. Interesting. It seems like some of the shots are going a little low and some are going a little high. What? What? All right, well, definitely not what I was expecting. Jeez. Definitely not the results we wanted. We got 4 down here, 1 on the red, surprisingly, and then a couple up here as well. But, yeah, definitely not worth $3,000. Is it 10 times cooler than that WeTech gas-black rifle? Yeah, I'd probably say so. But is it shoot 10 times better? That's where I'd probably draw the line. This thing is definitely more of a collector, kind of like flex gun, if you will. But I'm sure if you gave this to the right airsoft gas-black technician and maybe they cleaned it out and did some good maintenance, I'm pretty sure this thing would shoot pretty well. All right, guys, that is the video. I hope you guys did enjoy this one. I know my bank account did not. If you want to stay updated on future videos, make sure to subscribe and turn on the post notification bell to stay updated when I post. And if you did enjoy this one, I'm sure you're going to like this one as well. That is a personally recommended video just for you that YouTube thinks you should watch. That does it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.